All right, next up is Jeff Harrison, who's going to talk a little bit about AI, machine learning, and things I don't understand, but we're going to learn lots more. So I'll queue up his slides and have at it.
Thank you. I'll wait for the slides.
Queuing
But I'll introduce myself. My name's Jeff Harrison. I've been coming to a few of these for the last year, and I work for Greenpeace International, based in Amsterdam. I live here. I work remotely. Yes, I don't fly there every week. And I'm the Global Insights Manager, so I deal with anything to do with data and how we try to make use of that data across the organization. And so my goal was to go over the who, what, why, when, where, how of AI and how to apply it for nonprofits. And then after I started, I realized that was too ambitious for 5 minutes. So I cut out half of them. We're just going to go through what, why, and how for 2019. So it's a little bit more manageable. So first of all, this topic is in the news all the time. I was looking at the Google Trends and how much this is spiking in the last 2 years, the term AI and all this, and it's really unhelpful. So I looked up the definition. So AI is, the quote is, a branch of computer science dealing with the simulation of intelligent behavior in computers. So not really helpful at all. It's super vague. I think one thing to just think about is we're talking about like specific abilities, not general intelligence. It's not what you see in the movies. It's computer vision, it's voice to text on your phone, it's translation, prediction models, things like that. It's kind of very narrowly focused. And there's two big topics that I'm going to talk about, and that really for nonprofits is what's interesting for us. One is machine learning, which is the application of algorithms to produce models that make predictions or classify data, which we've been doing for a long time, but the thing is they do it themselves, you don't program them. And the second one is natural language processing, which is computers' reading of written language to understand it, in quotes. So those are the two big ones. So the first one is machine learning. So, how do we go back? Really, for our purposes, just think about machine learning as a black box. You don't really need to understand the technology behind it and what's happening in there. You can hire a consultant or buy a product. But really how it works at an abstract level is we train a model. So it's a model that you don't really understand. So you take a bunch of input data, which could be your donor history or different things about your supporters, and you say what you want to predict, your output, which for me here, I'm just saying this is a retention model. So did the donor quit? Did the donor stay? And it goes through this type of a data set and it finds a pattern. We call it a trained model. And then you take that model, that black box, and you apply it to the future. So you take a new input, like a new donor who's just joined, and it says, this is what we're predicting. They're leaving next month. It's that simple. It's inputs and outputs, and the model that you produce. The second one, maybe it's a little bit fast, but I'll slow down a little bit. The second one is natural language processing, which again is the reading and understanding of written content by computers. And so you've probably already seen this maybe in social media analysis, where you get something like this, which is sentiment analysis is the big one. So I'm really a big fan of 5 emotion sentiment analysis. This is just a screenshot from a dashboard I use to understand what's happening in Greenpeace's social media. So we can see there was a little spike in joy on the 7th, but a lot of fear back on the 4th. So we can see the emotions that people are expressing in their tweets and in the media coverage. Which really lets us understand thousands and thousands of tweets or messages without having to read them or even look at them. This was a summary of 7,200 tweets. Another more advanced application for natural language is the reading of entire articles. So this is a product that we use that scans news articles. It picks up the people. It says what's being said about them. It says what are events. And what we use this for is scanning huge amounts of media. You can find things like what are your quotes that were quoted in multiple articles. Or who's the most mentioned person on a topic. So entity detection, event detection, quote detection, and also whether or not positive or negative things are being said about these people. So again, as an organization, you can see how we can look at tens of thousands of articles and see how am I being portrayed or how is Greenpeace being portrayed in the media without having to read it. So those are just two quick examples. The next one is why now? So why is this coming up? And this is kind of interesting because machine learning was invented in 1959. So it's really old, like 60, 70 years old. And in 1982, it was proved that you could build intelligent models based on this, and then nothing for like 30 years. And why was that? And there's 2 fundamental reasons why. 1 minute. I'm not even going to get to how. No. We'll hold that for the bar. The first one is that we've had this data explosion in the world. So back in 2012, 90% of the data in the entire world of recorded information was produced in just 2 years. And that's because of smartphones, social media, and cloud storage. So this is just exploding globally. So one, we have all this information that we've never had before. And the second one is about the increased speed of computers. So just in the last 10 years, computers are literally tens of thousands times faster. And we're able to take all of this huge amount of data and find the patterns in it that weren't relevant or weren't findable before. And so what I'm going to just skip to is the last part, which I wanted to summarize, what are the nonprofit applications? And there are 3 big applications of these 2 technologies. I kind of touched on them. The first one is in marketing communication and targeting. So who are the people we should be contacting with an email appeal or fundraising appeal? How can we use a more sophisticated way of identifying them rather than just a rules-based query from your database? The second one is, I mentioned with the natural language. So social media and media comments, analysis, and understanding of this huge amount of conversations out in the world. And the last one, which was somewhat touched on with the chatbots, is about inbound communication management. So how do we prioritize the communication that our supporters are sending us through emails or through chat applications? So today we can see prioritization based on sentiment. Is this person angry? Are they happy? How should we escalate this? In 2019, we should see AI-augmented chat bots or chat applications where the computer will handle a lot of the requests, put it over to one of your staff if they can't handle it anymore. And then in the future, we'll have humanless AI chat where humans will be directly interacting with the computer. Hey, Siri, I want to up my donation. I want to give $100. It doesn't even touch a human. That just enters it in the database and charges them next month. So those are the types of 3 big applications we're exploring at Greenpeace. I'm not saying that we're doing any of these perfect or anything like that, but they're really emerging, and I expect next year we'll see a lot of them come out as products.
Fabulous. Well, thank you.